Hello, you're watching movie snapshot scenes, and this is the summary of The Truman Show, 1998. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A perfect world. The sky is always blue in Seahaven. The streets are clean, the lawns are trimmed, and everyone wears a smile. It's the kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. People wave to each other. The paperboy is always on time. The weather somehow is perfect every single day, and at the center of it all is Truman Burbank. Truman is in his early 30s, friendly, well-liked, and painfully ordinary. He sells insurance, wears khaki slacks, and dreams of traveling the world, though he's never left his hometown. He greets his neighbors with a cheerful, "Good morning," and in case I don't see ya, "Good afternoon," "Good evening," and "Good night." It's his signature phrase. His world is scripted down to the sidewalk cracks. But Truman doesn't know that. He doesn't know the blue sky is a dome. He doesn't know that every person he's ever met, his friends, his co-workers, even his wife, is an actor. He doesn't know that his entire life has been a television show broadcast to millions around the globe, 24 hours a day, from the moment he was born. The Truman Show. Created and directed by the elusive and visionary Christof, it's the most ambitious experiment in entertainment history. A real man, raised in a fake world. Cameras hidden in buttons, lamps, mirrors. Viewers around the world are addicted to Truman's innocence, his charm, his unfiltered reality. They cheer for him, they cry with him, but they never stop watching. Back in Seahaven, things are starting to change. Truman begins to notice odd details. A stage light falls from the sky and crashes into the street. The radio picks up a mysterious transmission, people describing his exact movements in real time. His daily routine, once so comforting, starts to feel more like a trap than a rhythm. And then there's Sylvia. She was never meant to be part of the script. She wasn't supposed to speak to him. But years ago, in a fleeting, unscripted moment, she whispered the truth. "This isn't real. They're watching you." And just like that, she was gone. Dragged away by actors posing as her father, labeled mentally unstable, shipped off to Fiji. Truman never forgot her. Now, years later, the cracks are widening. The perfect world is beginning to feel wrong, and Truman Burbank, Seahaven's golden boy, is about to start asking questions no one wants him to ask. Truman's smile doesn't reach his eyes anymore. The cracks in his world are growing. He notices how people always seem to be in the same place, doing the same things, saying the same lines. The man with flowers, the woman on the bike, the car that drives by at the exact same time, every morning, like clockwork, too perfect. And when he tries to change the routine, when he walks in a different direction, when he turns suddenly, the world reacts, fast. People scramble, scenes reset. Strangers get flustered. It's subtle, but Truman feels it. The fear behind their smiles. One day, he bumps into his friend Marlon, who delivers soda for a living and has been Truman's best friend since childhood. Marlon insists everything's fine. He hands Truman a beer, leads him to the dock, and tells him he's just stressed. "You're the same old Truman," Marlon says. "Nothing's wrong." But the words feel scripted. So does the beer placement in the camera frame. Meanwhile, Truman's wife, Meryl, grows increasingly nervous. Her eyes dart toward invisible marks on the floor, waiting for cues. She constantly mentions brand names, smiling like she's selling a product, because she is. She's an actress trapped in an infomercial, pretending to be a loving spouse. Truman can't ignore it anymore. He starts testing reality. He acts erratically, driving in circles, pretending to forget things, watching how people react. At one point, he tries to leave town, but the roads are suddenly closed. A chemical spill. "For your safety," the officers say. Too convenient. Truman laughs, hollow, bitter. He tries again. This time, he gets Meryl in the car, speeding through town, ignoring red lights. Meryl panics, breaking character. She begs him to stop. When they reach the edge of Seahaven, she screams for help. Not to police, but directly to the hidden cameras. And that's when Truman sees it. She's not pleading for her life. She's pleading for the scene to end. Truman grabs her. "Who are you talking to?" he demands. The door bursts open. A man in a white coat rushes in, an emergency intervention, claiming Meryl's just having a breakdown. But Truman isn't buying it. Not anymore. That night, his world is quiet. He stares out the window. Somewhere beyond the sea, beyond the painted sky, is Fiji and Sylvia. The only person who ever told him the truth, and Truman knows now, something is terribly, terribly wrong. The illusion is crumbling. Truman Burbank, once the cheerful, obedient everyman of Seahaven, is no longer playing his part. The charming smile has faded. The routine is broken, and the world around him, so carefully crafted, is starting to panic. He stops going to work. He avoids the people he once greeted so warmly. He wanders aimlessly, watching, listening, waiting for the seams to show. And they do. At the travel agency, he asks about flights to Fiji, where Sylvia said she was taken. The posters on the wall warn of plane crashes and lightning strikes. The receptionist fumbles with the phone, clearly stalling. There are no tickets, no flights, no answers. Just polite deflections and plastic smiles. At the hospital, he visits Meryl during her shift as a nurse. He barges into an operating room only to discover actors in costume, pretending to perform surgery with props and confusion. They freeze, caught off guard. Truman leaves, stunned. Each corner he turns reveals another glitch. He begins setting traps, faking sleep, pretending calm, only to catch Meryl whispering into her blouse, speaking to producers through a hidden mic. He chases her into the street, demanding the truth. She breaks down, screaming, "Do something! Somebody help me!" A van pulls up instantly. Marlon climbs out to defuse the situation. Later that night, on the end of a dock, Marlon sits beside Truman and feeds him another story. A carefully written speech beamed into his ear by Christof himself, the man orchestrating everything from a high-tech command center in the sky. He tells Truman, through Marlon, that there's nothing beyond. Seahaven, no lies, no watchers, just life, just friendship. But Truman's eyes don't soften. He's heard too many scripts. Far away, Sylvia watches on a TV screen, her fists clenched, tears in her eyes. She knows what Truman's facing, what they'll do to keep him in the dark. She wants to help, to reach through the screen and pull him out. Truman, meanwhile, grows quiet, strategic. He realizes escape won't come from confrontation. Not now. Not with so many eyes on him. So he begins to plan. Every camera watches him, but Truman has learned to watch back. And somewhere behind all the lights and the lies, he knows there's a door, a way out, and he's going to find it. The cameras are still rolling. The world continues to watch. Millions glued to their screens, unaware that the man they've loved for years is about to vanish. Truman has played his role for 30 years, but now, quietly, he's writing his own script. He begins with silence. He returns to his routines, smiles, waves, goes to work. But the energy is different. There's something behind his eyes, calculation, caution. Christof, from the control room above the dome, senses it. He orders more cameras, tighter coverage. "Find him," he says. "Watch everything." But it's already too late. One night, Truman disappears. The hidden cameras inside his home find nothing. His bed is full, but on closer inspection, it's just pillows under a blanket. The production erupts into chaos. Cameras switch angles, lights flood. Seahaven, crews disguised as townspeople scramble to search, but Truman is gone. For the first time in his life, Truman is truly alone. Christof orders the first ever pause in the show's broadcast. A black screen appears across millions of televisions. The audience waits, breathless. Inside the control room, panic sets in. If they lose Truman, they lose everything. Then, a blip. A camera catches movement on the open water. The control room zooms in. There he is, on a sailboat, pushing toward the horizon. toward freedom. But Truman is afraid of water. Christof made sure of that, planting trauma in his past to keep him landlocked. But now, against the wind and waves, Truman is sailing. His fear is no longer a cage. It's fuel. Christof watches in disbelief. "Increase the wind," he commands. The sky darkens, waves rise, rain lashes down. It becomes a storm, a manufactured tempest designed to break Truman's spirit. But Truman holds on. He's thrown from the boat. He climbs back. He's knocked. Down again. He screams into the storm, soaked and shaking, refusing to quit. The sea is artificial, but his defiance is real. "That's enough," a technician whispers. "You'll kill him." Christof hesitates. Then, silence. The storm stops. The clouds vanish, and ahead, Truman crashes into the sky. A wall. The painted horizon cracks under his boat's bow, revealing the edge of the world. A staircase leads up. A door marked "Exit" waits. Behind him, lies, control, a life not his own. Ahead, truth. He steps onto the deck, breathes deep, and walks toward the unknown. Truman Burbank is ready. Truman has reached the end of his world. He stands at the bow of his battered sailboat, staring in disbelief at the wall he just crashed into. Painted sky peels where the boat made contact. It's not a horizon, it's a lie. His hands run over the smooth, flat surface. He looks up, and there, just to his right, a narrow staircase rises into the false sky. At the top, a simple black door. One word written in bold white letters. Exit. As he climbs the steps, the wind settles. The waves grow still. Truman, soaked and trembling, rests his hand on the doorknob. Then, a voice. Truman. It comes from everywhere at once. The clouds, the sea, the walls. The voice is calm, deep, paternal. It echoes like thunder through the silence. Truman freezes. "I'm the creator," the voice continues, "of a television show that gives hope and inspiration to millions." This is Christof, speaking to Truman directly for the first time in 30 years. The man who watched his every moment, shaped his entire life, now steps into the light, through sound. Truman looks around, unsure whether to speak or run. "You've been under my care since birth," Christof says. "I've watched you grow, guided you, protected you." He speaks not like a villain, but like a father, a guardian of sorts. He tells Truman that the outside world is chaotic, dangerous, filled with disappointment. But in Seahaven, Truman was safe, loved, special. "Why me?" Truman asks quietly. "Because you were genuine," Christof replies. "That's what made the show so good." He pleads with him, tries to convince him to stay. He tells Truman, the world outside has no meaning, no structure. Inside, he has peace, purpose. But Truman has heard enough. His voice is soft but steady. "You never had a camera in my head." There's a long silence. Christof realizes he's lost. Truman places his hand on the door again. He turns back to face the sky one last time, and with a faint smile, he repeats the words that have been his signature for years. This time, on his terms. "In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night." And he walks through the door, not into a new show, not into a new script, but into the unknown, into freedom. The door closes behind him with a soft click. No fanfare, no applause. Just the sound of the wind, real wind, brushing against Truman Burbank's face for the very first time. He stands at the threshold, blinking against the unfamiliar sunlight. It's not studio lighting, it's natural, raw, imperfect. The world beyond the dome stretches before him in colors he's never truly seen, in air that isn't regulated, in silence that isn't filled with hidden microphones. His feet touch the earth, dirt, not polished sidewalks or carefully raked sand. It's uneven, beautiful in its unpredictability. Truman breathes it in. Behind him, the Truman Show has come to a halt. The camera feeds have gone dark. Christof remains in the control room, frozen, still watching that door. He doesn't speak. For a man who once spoke like a god, now he has nothing to say. The world that watched Truman religiously simply stops. Some stare blankly at their screens, unsure what to do without him. Others smile, some cheer, a few cry, but many, after a long pause, reach for the remote and turn off their TVs. Because for once, life feels more interesting than the show. And somewhere in the city, Sylvia is already moving. She races through the streets, no script to guide her, only instinct. She doesn't know where Truman will appear or how he'll react, but she knows one thing: she has to find him. The man she once tried to save is finally free. Truman walks along an empty road now, not looking back. He has no map, no destination, but that's the point. He's not just stepping into the world, he's becoming. Every sound, every sight, every breath feels brand new. There's no voice directing him, no sponsor pitching cereal mid-conversation, no cameras panning to catch his best angle. The silence is his own. So is the journey. And yet, in his chest, a quiet uncertainty stirs. Who is he without the show? Without the town? Without the routines that raised him? He doesn't know, but he wants to find out. Because in a world where everything once felt staged, he's ready, finally ready to feel something real. And somewhere beyond the frame, a new chapter waits. The sky above him is open, the kind that stretches for miles without boundaries, without studio lights, without walls pretending to be clouds. Truman Burbank walks beneath it, not as a character, not as a product, but as a man. No one tells him where to go. There are no stagehands fixing his path, no cue cards guiding his steps. His shoes touch uneven pavement. Cars pass without slowing. Strangers walk by without recognition in their eyes. And for the first time in his life, Truman is invisible, and he loves it. He moves through the city like a newborn, curious, hesitant. There's fear in his eyes, but also wonder. Every noise is new. Every smell, every gust of wind, every decision belongs to him. Elsewhere, the studio is empty. Christof sits alone, surrounded by dormant monitors. The world he created, his masterpiece, is silent. No one watches anymore. No one listens. The man who played God has been left behind by the only soul who ever truly mattered. On the streets, life continues. The audience that once obsessed over Truman now returns to their own lives. They eat breakfast, answer phones, walk dogs. Some talk about the show's end. Others barely acknowledge it. But for one man, that silence is everything. And for one woman, it means everything too. Sylvia rushes through the city, her heart pounding. She checks train stations, bus stops, parks, anywhere he might be. She doesn't know what to expect. Will he remember her? Will he blame her? All she knows is that Truman crossed the threshold. And she has to be on the other side when he lands, and then she sees him. He's standing near a quiet intersection, staring up at a street lamp like it might blink or swivel. She slows, afraid to speak. Truman turns, their eyes meet. He remembers. No words are spoken at first. None are needed. His smile is quiet, cautious, then real. The kind of smile that's never been rehearsed. Sylvia steps forward, her voice trembling. "Hi." Truman nods. "Hi." They both laugh, and it's awkward and human and perfect. He doesn't ask where to go next. She doesn't offer a map. They simply walk, side by side, into the noise, into the unknown, into life. And for the first time, Truman Burbank is free.